Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groones is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groones.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 66. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We're talking Golden Gopher football in this week's show as we're getting closer and closer to the annual spring game, which is set for Saturday, April 22nd at 11 o'clock at the stadium. It's our pleasure to welcome to the podcast for the very first time co-defensive coordinator and cornerbacks coach Nick Monroe. They call him the Swag Daddy. We'll find out why that's his nickname. We'll deep dive into his coaching philosophies, his recruiting philosophy, this coming year's team, and his deep history with Gopher football. I promise you'll love the conversation, so please stick around and listen. Our Go Gopher podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. We're also glad to have Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union with us here on the Go Gopher podcast. Affinity Plus is proud to support Gopher athletics and is a main sponsor of this podcast. Affinity Plus is your local credit union throughout the state of Minnesota. Find out more at affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. Our podcast is also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland at ChamplinInsurance.com. We're podcasting episode 66 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. One other quick note, if you're a restaurant or other business who would like to have the podcast showing live from your venue and are interested in partnering with us, contact the great folks at Talk North. We'd love to be on location on a more regular basis. Go to talknorth.com, find Karen Cleary for details. We invite you to subscribe to the podcast as well. You can go back and listen to past Go Gopher podcast. Last week, for example, we were in Tampa, Florida at the Frozen Four. We had the voice of Gopher hockey, Wally Shaver, and also enjoyed a visit with Jess Myers from the Rink Live. It's a little outdated now, but you still can go back. A lot of good info in that podcast. This week, it's episode 66 of the Go Gopher podcast, and we're talking Golden Gopher football with the Swag Daddy, Nick Monroe. My conversation with him is next.
I'm Clay Geary, walk-on turned scholarship wide receiver for Gopher football.
And I'm Ben Utek, U of M alumni, Super Bowl champion, and Tony Dungy Uncommon Award winner.
We understand championship culture, which is why we're part of the True North family of companies.
True North invests in only elite teams, like the champion team at Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and our diverse family of independently owned companies, visit TrueNorthEquityPartners.com.
Hi, Gopher fans. Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on lights, we switch TV channels, we switch on the TV. And with the new transfer portal, some college students even switch colleges, which can seem crazy to us diehard fans. But what's not crazy is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, my agency can switch you over so we can start saving today. My team is ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood and show you it is, in fact, easy to switch and save. When you want the real deal, check us out at ChamplinInsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's episode number 66, the Go Gopher podcast, and we're talking Golden Gopher football here. Nick Monroe is the new co-defensive coordinator and cornerbacks coach at Minnesota, and he joins us here in our studio. And, Coach, good to see you.
Oh, man, great to be seen. Great to be seen.
Welcome back to Minnesota, right? I mean,
Yes,
you've
sir.
got a great history with this state, which we'll get into. You re-arrived in January. How has it been since then?
I tell you what, it's been surreal. It really has. It still does not even seem real. It's it's like I wake up every single day and it's like I'm dreaming. I mean, I always had, visions and hopes and dreams of getting back here someday, and it happened all so fast, and it's a real blessing to be back.
It is a little, as you mentioned, surreal, and maybe irony is a word. You were coaching against this group of Gophers a few months ago in Yankee Stadium as the Syracuse defensive coordinator, and here you are now coaching for this group. And I know there was some coaching changes on that defensive side of the football for Syracuse. And take me through what it's like to coach against a team that you're familiar with, that you have a background with a little bit, even if it's been years ago, to all of a sudden here you are coaching with that team now.
Again, like the best way I can describe it is it's like I'm in a dream world right now. Things got really hectic there at Syracuse at the end, and for about a month there I was the interim defensive coordinator. And when we found out we were playing in Minnesota, I was like, oh wow, how crazy is that, playing against the team that I grew up cheering for and my home state team. And doing interviews left and right with folks back here in the Twin Cities, and preparing for a very good football team. Obviously, they presented a lot of problems offensively and whatnot, and I felt like we had a good beat on their personnel and what they try to do. And sure enough, shortly after the game, I get a call from Coach Fleck, and next thing you know, here I come to Golden Gopher country. And the trickiest thing about it was all with my 6-year-old boy Wyatt, my little boy Wyatt. He was so confused by it. He's like, wait a minute. We just got done not liking the Gophers. Now we like them? Like, he was so perplexed by that. It didn't make any sense. And, since then, obviously, him and my wife have been out a few times, and they've come to practice. And, of course, he's already figured out his new favorite team, which is a good thing. He's already got his jerseys and everything lined up, so we're good to go there.
Because all he has known is Syracuse, right?
That's exactly right.
To cheer for, right?
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. He was born there. He's grown up there the last 6 years, and now, like I said, it was a tricky situation trying to explain to him everything that was going on, but he's got it figured out now. He
likes Goldie now, that's for sure. And how is he? Is he old enough now to understand kind of what you do and what
yes, sir.
And understand the game a little bit and want to go to the games and put on a jersey and all that?
Yeah, he'll be at every single game, a home game that is. But even this morning, when we do our FaceTimes early in the morning, he says, "Hey, Dad, you guys run any two-man?" I said, "What? What?" He goes, "Yeah, well, how about any robber?" I'm like, "Hey, man, what have you been watching on TV?"
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, obviously, it must have been some YouTube Madden stuff that he heard. My wife was cracking up, obviously, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious. He could tell you what the positions are. He could tell you he's going to be, he thinks he's going to be a backer or a he thinks he's a receiver right now. He'll probably be more of a tight end backer is what I think he's going to probably be someday. But he loves this stuff. So it's fun. And my wife and I have never pushed him toward that. It's fun watching him come up with his own likes and loves and passions, and I guess being around it the whole time, he's really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you mentioned maybe a receiver, but with his dad as on the defensive side of the football, he's got to be a linebacker.
Yeah, no question,
right?
Backer or safety for sure. Yeah, let's get him on the good side, right? No question,
for sure. That's where that's where games are won and lost, is on that side of the football, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
No doubt. All right, so you grew up. We'll get to this now. You grew up in Minnesota, Matamidi, Minnesota.
Yes, sir.
And so take me through this winding tale of growing up there, playing football.
Yeah.
Your dad was a coach here.
Yes, sir.
Take us through all that.
Yeah, I was born in the north part of Kansas City. Grew up there until we were about 7-ish, 8-ish. Moved up here. Dad was a college football coach. In the local area here, he coached at Bethel, at St. Thomas, here, Mankato, Minnesota State now. Went to school at Matamidi, graduated from there, got a chance to play college football myself up at St. Cloud State. It was a great opportunity, a great experience, wouldn't change anything. And when I was done playing, the next best thing was coaching, and we got my first job at a small Division III school out in Northwest Pennsylvania, Allegheny College, and been doing this now for 21 years. So it's kind of wild, really wild, So, but it's growing up here, obviously Dad coached here for a few years, Gophers fan, my whole life, and got a chance to see a lot of games in the old Metrodome, which was really cool. In fact, in high school, we got to play there. Back then, once you made it to the state semis, state championship game,
The prep
you got a
bowl,
chance to prep bowl, absolutely. So it's still kind of wild when you drive through Minneapolis and you see that beautiful new stadium sitting where the Dome used to sit, you know. But, like I said, it's all coming full circle.
So how old do you remember being when your dad was here? He was with Jim Wacker, right?
Jim Wacker, yes,
and
sir.
then would you come and maybe watch practice when he was coaching and stuff? How old would you have been around that time?
I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, right around that range right there. And so I was clearly old enough to know what was going on. And, just being around the coaching staff, watching what they do, watching their interactions with the players, and then going out to practices and watching the interactions with the players and just what it took day in and day out to be a part of this wonderful game. It was very cool. In fact, still when you walk over into the old facility here, I can still remember us being practices in there. I can remember us being at Gopher football camp when we were in high school, and I can still recall certain memories from even being in the old field, the Rod Wallace field house, and remember where all the offices were in this building and whatnot. It's bizarre. It really is.
It's like a little deja vu there, I'm sure. And now when you think about it, and that at the time, the old building now, as you mentioned, the Rod Wallace building where some of the other sports, baseball, softball, and others work out now. Soccer's in there sometimes. At the time, that was newer, and it was nice. It was, hey, this is one of the best in the Big Ten, and then it kind of gets older, and now we're all getting up there a little bit more. So
no question.
Now, when you come back to campus, what did you think when you saw the new building?
I didn't even understand it. Like I was perplexed by the whole situation. In fact, for the first few weeks when I was back here, I would get lost at least a couple times a day in the new building because it's huge and it's beautiful and it's aesthetically good looking and it's got everything you'd possibly want or need. And I was just blown away. I couldn't believe that the facilities were this nice. And I'd been back a couple times. Obviously Coach Rossi and I have been good friends for years, so when I was in town, I'd come over and we'd talk ball. But he never took me through like a tour of the new facilities or anything. So I had seen very limited pieces of the new facility. But yeah, what a phenomenal advantage that is for us to have that, to be able to show recruits and let our own football players be able to go through that day in and day out, because I tell everybody, I just say the resources and facilities here are completely out of this world, and they really are. And you can't fully understand it unless you come and see it in person.
Yeah, and now I've been around since it opened. I'm not there every day like you guys are, but I even get confused. Like, which floor is that again? Now,
exactly.
Where do I go to get to the Players Lounge? Or we had to actually broadcast a couple of the spring games from the Players Lounge because of crappy weather.
I'm sure.
But hopefully this year, knock on wood.
Right.
As we talk, it's a Thursday. It's a week from Saturday, the spring game. Hopefully we'll get some great weather like today. It's
no question
80 degrees here in the Twin Cities. So your dad was coaching. Marty was coaching here. How is he now? Is he in good health?
He is.
Did he continue to coach? Tell us about
He after here he went back to St. Thomas, then he went to Minnesota State, and I was playing at St. Cloud State at the time, so we were kind of borderline enemies at that time. But the last couple years that I was finishing up playing, he just decided to get out of it, finish watching me play, which was really cool for him to do that. Traveled, in all of our away games, and that was really a special deal for me because, you get so entrenched in pouring into your own team and these young men that there's not all that extra time you have, whether it was being able for him to watch me or coach me myself. He took those last couple of years and just was a dad and was able to watch me finish playing. It was great. In fact, what is today? Today is the 13th, I believe, right? So just a couple of days ago, he had his 71st birthday. It's the first time I'd been home for one of his birthdays in quite some time. So that was cool, and he's in great health, and doing well. In fact, I think he's going to probably come out to practice either this Saturday or the spring game, which will be his first time coming back for almost 30 years, So no, it's a good thing to be able to be back around family and friends that I grew up with, because again, that's a special deal growing up as Gopher fans, and now get to be a piece to the whole puzzle.
How cool is it too now to have your son around your parents and grandparents more often?
This is going to sound crazy, but at Syracuse, so when I was at Colgate University years and years ago, that's upstate New York. It's not very far from Syracuse.
Yeah.
That's where my wife is from. And so then, we got to Bowling Green in Ohio. And when my former boss, Coach Babers, got the Syracuse job and offered me a job to go back there, my wife and her family were ecstatic, because all her family is 45 minutes outside of Syracuse. So it was like we hit the jackpot.
Sure.
So, when Wyatt was born, he was around her whole side of the family. Well, she knows how this game goes. It's very rare for you to stay at one place your entire career, but we've done a good job. We've stayed at 6 years, 7 years, and she always said, when the time comes for us to move, there's two places that I'll move with you to, joking around, but she always said Florida or Minnesota, because she'd been back to Minnesota so many times, and she's gotten close with my family and all my friends and their wives and whatnot. So she was actually very excited for the move to Minnesota. And like you said, now our son is able to be around this side of the family for the next stage of his life, which is it's a very cool deal. I tell everybody now it's kind of flipped right now. We used to take our vacations to Minnesota. Now we'll take our vacations to upstate New York, to see her family.
Right.
So
either place you're shoveling snow.
Either place
right?
we are, you're absolutely right.
Which is fine. I see why she would say Florida. I was just there last week for hockey, and it was nice at night to walk out in short sleeves. I'm not a big heat. Like if it's 93, that's a little warm for my taste. But at night when it was 78, beautiful. Go out for a walk.
Absolutely.
And do that. So I know why Florida was on her list. I think
no question.
And now the hecticness you mentioned, the idea that you've been able at least from Allegheny to Colgate to Bowling Green to Syracuse. It isn't like 12 stops in 12 years, which some of your colleagues have probably had to do.
Absolutely.
And it's different now, maybe even than it was years ago, where coaches at least now are making money where it's worth some moves. Like, man, I remember even covering when I was in St. Louis, the St. Louis Rams, and there's NFL coaches way back when that they're not making a lot of money, and it's like 15 houses and 15 years, or apartments or condos or whatever they could do. So you've been a little lucky, I'll say that way, just in that you're not bouncing every single year like some coaches have to do.
No question. I've been fortunate. I've worked for really good bosses, and every place been fortunate to have success, which has allowed us to stay employed, and that is, and especially I think as you get older, I mean, moving's not the most fun thing in the world, you know what I mean? And luckily I got a really cool wife. She handles that stuff now. She's handled this will be the third move in a row she's handled. So I'm thankful that she's been able to do that, because that's not a lot of fun when you got to pack up the house and do all that stuff.
Yeah, well, and now you're in the thick of spring ball, getting to know your new team and new coaches, because you got to blend in with that too. So it really is nice to that she can do that. Have you guys found a place? You're still looking, or how?
We're still looking.
Yeah.
It is a little bit stressful, but. We're getting close. We're getting close. We've narrowed it down, and we've got our eyes on a few targets, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks here we'll get this thing sorted out finally. We're in the fourth quarter right now. We're driving right now. We're driving down. Yeah, we're going to finish this and punch it in the end zone. So that'll be the goal right here.
Yeah, very good. And you mentioned you have a lot of family and friends. Have you been able to go find some old high school buddies too that you've stayed in touch with, or cousins or what have you?
No, there's a group of us. There's a group of 6 of us that graduated in high school together, and even over the last number of years, we have our video group chats and our group chats, and we communicate somehow, some way every day. Well, the cool thing was when I did accept this job and got this job, I FaceTimed every single one of them separately and gave them the news, which was really like some of them didn't even believe it. They were like, "Come on, are you serious?" And no, right now it's a good grind right now with spring ball, but they're all over on the northeast side of the cities. Most of them are, and we get a chance to see each other here and there. So it's pretty cool. Probably the coolest thing, though, is because I kept my dad in the loop. I usually keep him in the loop on what's going on, but we didn't tell my mom yet. Yeah. So my wife and I, the day I knew everything was 100% official and we're good to go.
Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Exactly. We FaceTime Mom, and I'll never forget her face. She was just. Her mouth was wide open, and she had tears going down her eyes. And even, there's certain nights where I get home, because right now I'm staying at their house, like I'm in high school again, and she's got dinner. Room. She's got dinner ready, and she's just like, she'll say, I just cannot believe you're home. I cannot believe this. I'm like, I know, Mom. It's pretty cool.
That's
so
great.
Yeah.
So you got your old room? You in your old room?
No, not in my old room.
Okay.
Different. They've pretty much made the basement mine right now, because
Gotcha.
My wife and Wyatt, they'll fly back. They usually fly out here every 2 to 3 weeks. What we attempted to do was say, hey, let's figure out a way we never go more than 3 weeks over these next 4 months. So they were just out last week. Now spring recruiting and whatnot, it'll be a little bit tougher, but they'll be out here mid-June for good. So just gotta get through about 2 more months here, and we'll be one happy family
one big
again.
Happy family.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You mentioned Joe Rossi and your relationship with him, and he was at Allegheny, and I'm forgetting now. Was he there before you, or did you?
He had just got done playing and just graduated right when I got there. So we were we've both coached the same amount of seasons. We're both virtually the same age. He's a little bit older. I like to make sure I throw that in there. But we've known each other for 21 years now, and it's been a great friendship because it's evolved full circle, right? Like it was first, it kind of started off just as young coaches. We were just trying to find this whole path together, and we kind of did that, out in the Northeast. And then as we continued both to climb the ladder, then we'd run into each other on the recruiting trail, a lot of times down in South Florida. And then as even the next stage, we started getting together yearly, like their staffs and our staffs would get together. I know for a couple of years in a row there, we met up at Vanderbilt, and the whole defensive staff at Rutgers, and that was when I was at Bowling Green. We'd get together and do just defensive jamborees, so to speak, and clinic each other. And then, once he got here, when I'd come back, on vacation and stuff, I'd come in and see him and just talk ball. And, over the years, we've had some common opponents, so we've been able to game plan and run ideas off of each other. And even as we got older and started having children and whatnot, just it was a good friendship to have, just to, I guess we have boys, we don't have any girls, the two of us, so we have boys, our girls are our wives. So it's just been a fantastic relationship over the years, just evolving as we mature, as men, through this whole thing called life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Been a lot of fun.
I remember talking with Joe at the bowl game in New York City, and asked him about it, and he said, interesting, Allegheny was just maybe the first little meeting, but he said it was really later on when you guys got closer, maybe.
Yes, sir.
Like he made a reference to some sort of a referee situation. He was reffing some intramural basketball game, and he said that was what he remembered about it. And then that you guys would pass each other in the office on occasion, in the football office.
Right.
And then he said, kind of go your own way. And then all of a sudden, he's like really formulated this great friendship as the years went by, as you just described.
Yeah. It's in fact, the other day, when we were outside last Saturday, I'm like, what we need to do? We need to take a picture of us and send it to all, because we've had a lot of the same mentors over the year. And he's like, you're right, we got to do that. And his wife actually took the picture. She's like, look at you two, you're both smiling. Look at that. And I'm like, yes, we are. We sent it off to a bunch of our old previous mentors and whatnot, and just. It's awesome.
That's pretty cool. I got to read a quick commercial here from our sponsor, and then I want to ask you a little bit about the defense, about this team, about spring ball. Affinity Plus is one of our sponsors here. We're great and thankful to have them along for the ride. They're your local credit union, proudly serving Minnesota since 1930. If you're a current Gopher student or proud Gopher alum, you're eligible to join this financial that wants to build a meaningful banking relationship and put you first. You can meet with a local employee at any of their branches. They're statewide. statewide, including one right here near campus on University. To learn more or find another way to connect, go to affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. That's affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Nick Monroe is with us, co-defensive coordinator, cornerbacks coach, and I'm going to start this segment by asking you the swag daddy. Now, a couple weeks ago, Andy Greeter asked Joe Rossi, do you call him the swag daddy? And I had no idea what he meant. This was in a news conference setting. I'm like, is he talking about a player? Who was swag daddy? And then it wasn't until later that I found out that, no, you are the swag daddy. How did that come about?
That's the rumor anyways. That's the rumor. No, it was one of those deals that happened years ago down in South Florida. And, one of the coaches nicknamed me that. It stuck. All the recruits started calling me that. And then over the years, it really did. It stuck. And, it was something that I actually kind of attempted to try to like, hey, let's see if we can slide away from this. But it stuck with me.
Once you got it, you got it.
We got it. Yeah. So you know what? You have two choices, right? You can either just, be depressed about it and pout about it, or you can embrace it. So I embrace it, man. I'm embracing it, and here we are, another year of the swag daddy.
How did it? You mentioned in Florida, so was it just you're a good dresser? You look good. You got a nice hair.
You know what? It was just honestly, I'm high energy all the time, I'm blessed and I'm fortunate to be around this game still. I don't call it work because it's really not. It's just it's my passion and it's fun. And I guess I've always had a high volume of energy and enthusiasm. And the other thing someone taught me a long time ago, they said, when you're recruiting, you want to be able to be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to make an impressionable first impression because you never get a second chance to make that first impression. So the ability to be just a little bit different, and when that nickname came about, I'm like, you know what? This kind of brings everything together right here. I mean, kids are going to remember that nickname. Who else is nicknamed that, So right. It stuck, and it was a good thing because it did. It made me different because everybody was going to South Florida to recruit, and like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, there he is. There's a swag daddy, And then the worst part is as I was silently trying to kind of, just kind of put it in the back closet, so to speak, everybody around here in the office started going on it, and it revitalized. It came right off of the hospital bed there, and it got jump started again.
Yeah, that's and Andy Greeter, when he asked that question, I didn't know. Now we know. And
yes, sir.
We're going to call you the swag daddy when we get a chance for sure. I know Andy asked Joe Rossi if he called you that, and he said once, and then you called him the Grinch, and that was it. So I don't know if he made that story up or if that was really true.
No, it's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah, like we like to. Rossi and I have a really good relationship. Like we're not geniuses by any stretch, but we're not fools either. But we have a wittiness to us where we can bust each other's chops a little bit and have a good time. And I think the rest of the staff enjoys it too because they're like, wow, these guys could have their own TV show right here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we have a good time with that. That's for sure.
How has that blending now been? Obviously, Joe is established here with what he wants to do. You can bring some ideas in. You have run that 3-3-5 that has been, emerging, I guess. Like more and more teams are picking it up because it's been so good. And Minnesota's basically been a 4-2-5, a 4-3. I mean, are there things that as you blend that you can hybrid a few things?
Years ago when I was with Mike Elko, who's now the head coach at Duke, I was a part of this system. Now, listen, Joe has evolved with this system and found new answers and created new things for the wave of offenses that he's seen year to year, especially in the Big Ten, that I am just amazed at what it has become. Like I said, years ago, back in like 2010 to 2013, I was with Elko, and we did a lot of this stuff, but it wasn't to this degree. Like I said, it's evolved so much. I'm just really impressed on how Coach Rossi has the system, he has the answers to the system, how he implements it, and how our players know it. I mean, our players know it like it's in and out, and it's just it's poetic watching this thing on a daily basis. It really is. Like I said, I think every system has a place. It just depends on what your personnel is, what your philosophy is, a football team, and of course, who you're playing year in and year out. What league are you in? The ACC is totally different from the Big Ten, as opposed to the SEC, as opposed to the Pac-12, as opposed to the Big 12. They're all different.
Yep.
So I think if you were saying, hey, what system are you going to run? Well, number one, I think it depends truly on what your personnel is. What kind of players can you get to your location? What's the head coach's philosophy? What is the team philosophy? And then, of course, who are you playing against? And I absolutely love our system. I love the way it's implemented. I love the way our kids know it inside and out. They've taken ownership within it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, you're coaching cornerbacks in addition to your co-defensive coordinator duties. Right now, it's a little thin, right, in terms of numbers.
Thin. Yes, sir.
That can be good though. Guys are getting all kinds of reps. What can you tell us about your group right now?
Yeah, it's so cool. Knock on wood, they've done a fantastic job of taking care of their bodies, right? Hydrating, getting sleep, nutrition, the extra stretching, the extra flexion, all that good stuff, and they've. Hey, listen, none of them can complain about reps. I can tell you that, But I just really appreciate how hard they work and how much dedication they've put into this family of ours, because it's not easy when you only have 4 to 5 guys out there running around going through spring ball like this. And listen, there's talent there. There is absolutely talent there. It's just that, as time goes on, guys get worn down. Injuries are part of the game, right? That's the way it is. So, we do need to build up a little bit of depth there, and we will. We'll get that done. We got guys coming in and whatnot, and it'll be great. It's just I just tip my hat to them because they haven't complained. They haven't blamed anybody. They haven't ever come out to a day, a meeting, a practice, a walkthrough, a weightlifting session, and just been sour or been salty. They've embraced everything. They've been excited about it. They've had great energy, and they've come to work. They've rolled up their sleeves and attacked it every single day. Just a true necked-on mentality, and that's encouraging to me. That's exciting to me, getting to see that and be a part of that every day. That makes our jobs easier, and it makes it even more fun.
The headliner of that group is Justin Wally, now a 2-year starter. What have you seen from him, and where is his ceiling? Where can he go, do you think?
The first thing I'll say is this: what a fantastic human being! What a fantastic young man! I mean, again, a lot of this stuff goes back to being able to show these young men that, hey, we're also husbands and fathers too. And when my wife and Wyatt were out at practice, he's after practice playing with them. They're drawing up routes in the sand against other guys, and next thing I know, they're doing the gritty dance after touchdowns, and I'm just like, wow, look at this. He's got an innate ability to connect with people. He's really become a leader here this spring. He's been able to activate his voice. He's been able to demand attention, respect, not just from his play, but from what he's also saying. I think everybody gravitates around him. He makes others better around him. He's got an elite skill set that is just, I got to make sure I just don't mess him up. Okay, let's be honest. Like he does. He's got a chance to be, one of the best in the country, in my opinion. He's got speed, he's got hips, he's got ball skills, he's got competitive nature within him, and he's got a willingness just to find a way to win. That's what it's very important to him, and he's a lot of fun to be around. I enjoy talking to him after meetings or after practice and just hearing what he has to say, because I'll be the first to admit I learn as much from these young men as they learn from me, because again, society's changed, right? It's an evolving game. You got to be able to adapt and improvise and overcome and find new creative ways to teach, new creative ways to get things across, because it's not what we know, it's what they know, and it's can they execute what they know in the heat of the moment. So
the thing I've liked about him in his time, and I think he can take that next step or two as well, as you mentioned, be one of the top in the country, is that he, when the ball's headed his way, he has a knack to be around it.
He does.
And that, like if you're a corner, you'd love if, hey, you're so good, we're not going to throw your way at all. But if you're a corner and the ball's in your area, he's been able to make plays on the football, whether it's an interception or a PBU or what have you.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That's I think that's one of the toughest things for a corner in today's game to do, because so many offenses will just say, I mean, they will. They'll look for a weak link, so to speak, or whoever they want to target. And if they are struggling on offense, they just throw the ball up there. See if a corner or a DB can play the ball in the air, because so many guys panic, right? It's not the easiest thing to do, especially with all the – it's an offensive game, right? And guys can do different things to really twirl you and twist you and get you mixed up a little bit. So if your eyes aren't right and your body position's not right, and you don't feel comfortable with that ball in the air when the spotlight's bright on you, it can be a long day, you know? Yeah. So, but he does. He's got that ability to make high-speed decisions in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the moment, and that's what I think really will propel him this season and taking the next step to being one of the great ones.
We talked about your relationship with Joe Rossi and that you were comfortable and familiar with him all the way up through. So let me finish our interview here in our podcast by asking you about PJ Fleck, who
yes, sir.
Everyone knows nationally. That guy, you mentioned you're energetic. Obviously, PJ is known for his energy as well. How well did you know him before you got this job? And then what's it been like now since January to be on staff with PJ Fleck?
I first met him when he was at Rutgers and I was at Bowling Green. In fact, I met him. We were both on the road together in South Florida recruiting. And, after that, he became the head coach at Western Michigan, and I was at Bowling Green. And we played them a number of times. And I would always go. I remember one year they beat us, and I went afterwards to the locker room and congratulate him, because when he took that program over, it was a total rebuild. Mm-hmm. And they had really started to climb the ladder and get things going. And I went to the locker room after our game when they had beat us, and I just said, hey, man, great job. You're doing a heck of a job. I mean, fabulous. Like, I know this stuff's not easy. And, over the years even, just here and there, we'd bump into each other. And then after the bowl game, they had Minnesota had beaten Syracuse, and I talked to him for a little bit after the game on the field, and I just said, I just want you to know, as a Minnesotan, this program is not just in a regional spotlight. You have created something that has a national brand, and people from Minnesota are proud, and alums are proud, and former players are proud to see what's going on. I mean, the state of the program when I grew up here was nothing like it is right now. And with success comes a little bit of pressure, but pressure is a good thing. It forces you to change your best every day. Yeah. And it's always watching it from afar, watching his energy, watching his enthusiasm, watching how much he preaches about culture and how important it is. It's the bloodline of a program. It's not even a football program. It's a life program. And, when you're on the outside, you're always like, well, I wonder if that's real. I wonder if that's
the question I get the most from anyone.
No question, like, is that just a facade?
That him, or
and there's not been one day that I have come to work for him where I have not seen that energy or that pouring into the players, into the program that he doesn't do on a consistent basis, and he always tells me, hey, you don't have to match my energy, but you got to have your own energy every single day, and you got to make sure you're changing your best every day. And I really believe this. He's got a great blueprint of what it's supposed to look like. I'm very fortunate and blessed he hired me, and I think we will work very well. I just, there's a good vibe whenever I get to hang out with him and whenever we do things, even whether it be on the field, whether it be with recruits coming on campus, whether it be in a staff meeting, whether he comes into one of my meetings. It's good vibes all the way around, and I'm very excited because I know he can help me become a better teacher, a better coach, a better mentor, and I'm really looking forward to that next challenge of my life.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds. I'm excited for the spring game coming up a week from Saturday, and then we'll get into summer workouts. And before you know it, Nebraska's going to be in town, and we'll be kicking off this season.
They will, indeed. That'll be a Thursday night. August 31st. And the reason I know that is because it's my son's birthday. So his birthday in Minnesota, he'll be 7. And then we're playing. And, of course, my old boss is now the defensive coordinator at Nebraska, Tony White.
That's right.
So that'll be a fun first go into Big Ten.
Let's go get that one. But
yes, sir.
There's more work to be done between now and then.
Yes, sir. Tons of work. Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming on. I kept you a little longer than we promised, but you're so good we had to keep you on a little longer.
I love it. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There he is, the co-defensive coordinator of the Golden Gophers, the cornerbacks coach, Nick Monroe. It's episode 66.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from and getting to know new Gopher co-defensive coordinator and cornerbacks coach Nick Monroe. A lot of great stories, a lot of great insight into the maroon and gold. And a reminder, the annual spring game is Saturday, April 22nd at 11 o'clock. The Go Gopher Podcast episode 66 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. We're also partnered with Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, a locally member-owned full-service financial invested in you. You can learn more at affinityplus.org/GoGophers. That's affinityplus.org/GoGophers. Check out their top-ranked mobile app as well. And we're also brought to you by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and right now, please be sure to click the subscribe button to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to subscribe and free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. We'll talk again next week.